As time went on, I have to say this first. When I first made the decision to leave EMS, or when I was contemplating that, the last station I worked at out in Central, that last call that I ran with the lady that gave birth, when I was actually on my way to work that night, at the intersection of Sullivan and Hooper Road, which is right near our station, I actually stopped at the red light, and my mom and dad were facing me. I'm like, whoa, that's weird. So they pulled into the station because they knew I never worked out there. And I told them that I was contemplating, retiring early. And my mom was trying to talk me out of it. Whenever I was contemplating that, I didn't have anybody's support. I understand why. It wasn't that they didn't want to support. It's that it's the unknown, right? I mean, I have great benefits. I've been there a long time and all my retirement, and that was a huge decision. But I told her, everything in my heart tells me this is why I'm here on earth, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I can't not do it. And, she was like, I'm not saying not do it, but, you really want to quit your job? And I'm like, yeah, no, yeah, no, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I have to be able to fulfill this. I had a really long waiting list. I wanted to be able to shorten that and get to more people. But yeah, it was quite a transition. Time moved forward, and I continued doing readings, and I got in my groove, so to say, and I started doing large groups, anywhere from 100 to 200 people, and I really, really enjoyed doing groups. Everybody thought that it took a lot of energy from me, but I said, actually, it energizes me. If I'm with one person who has excessive grief, which is understandable if they've lost someone they love, that can be draining sometimes. And I'm not complaining, believe me, it's understandable. But when I'm in a group, everybody has different energy, so it helps balance the room. And I really, really enjoy doing groups. Just really do. I don't know what it is about it, but yeah. So as time went on, things started shifting with my mom, and I was at my sister and brother-in-law's camp. We call it a camp. It was a little house out on my brother-in-law's family's land up in Osika, Mississippi, which is, I don't know, population 2, no, maybe 200, maybe less, maybe more, like 50, I don't know. But it's very small, out in the middle of nowhere. And but they have it's beautiful land, rolling hills, and they had this little camp house on there, and we decided to spend Christmas there one year. I want to say this was 2010, something like that. And so we're all out there, and my parents had a travel trailer, and they had parked it out by the little house. So, but we didn't care. It was a little house, and we were happy to all be in there, close quarters. We just always laugh and have fun. And one day, my mom goes to take a nap, and she comes back in the little house, and I just noticed her behavior was off. And I went and told my sister a little while later. I said, Angel, I think Mom's using too many pain pills. And she said, oh, Mom would never do that. And I said, I know, I see it in her eyes, but I also sense it. And, my mom had had numerous back surgeries, and she had legitimate pain. And I think this happens a lot to people. Nobody just wakes up and says, hey, I want to be an addict. That is not how it happens. I think people cross the line of addiction. My mom had been through a lot in her life, and, I think that happens to a lot of addicts. They get to a point where there's a numbing sensation, or they forget about their problems, and, they go with it. But I started noticing that, and she said no. And then it wasn't, but maybe a couple of weeks later, Angel said, I think you're right. It got pretty rough. The last person I ever thought would be addicted to anything would be my mother. But she started using pain pills, and of course, like I said, she had back surgery. She had a reason to be using them, but it got pretty rough. And There came a point where she started using fentanyl patches with the pain pills. And, she when somebody has addiction and they want to use something, they're going to do everything they can to use it. So it got really bad for my dad. She was insisting on him bringing her more patches, and it was just a rough time. The thing is, here's the crazy part. My mom could be pretty stoic when she, throughout life. And when she started using pain pills, she was so affectionate and loving. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck? Yeah, this is what I want, but not this way, But it was a very, very rough journey trying to figure out how to navigate that. How do you navigate that? How do you go to someone's house when you walk in and it sucks the life out of you because the energy is so heavy? And so it's I found that if I got upset about it, that my energy didn't feel right. And, I'm really in tune with my energy body and physical body. And I can tell you the one thing that when my energy would flow clearly and smoothly and I knew I was open and I could do readings easily, it's when I just loved her. I just loved her without being upset. That's one of the things I've learned the most through my journey with her, was that love was the answer, right? But it was not easy, and because she could be very manipulative. Now, she's not the type that goes out and steals meds and writes prescriptions on stolen prescription meds. She was just using too much of her own. She got down to where she was right under 100 pounds at one point, and the amount of pain pills the doctor was giving her monthly was criminal, in my opinion. It was criminal. And so, of course, she had all she needed, pretty much, But it was a rough path for a while because, like I said, it's tough to navigate that. And then the guilt and shame that she felt was horrible. I never wanted that for her. And, one day I decided to talk to her about it, and I went into it with a loving heart, and I wanted to have this conversation with her, but I went into it without an attachment to the outcome, meaning that I just wanted to say what I wanted to say and not be attached to her response or a certain response. If she got upset, then that was okay. If she talked about it, that was okay. Whatever it was fine with me. But I went in and talked to her about it very lovingly. She got pissed, and she didn't talk to me for a long time. She said, "Oh, never use too many meds," and blah, blah, And then one day she shows up at my sister's, and we're all there, and she says, "Stace, I needed you to say what you said," but she still denied abusing any kind of pain pills. And I wasn't condemning her for it. I just said, Mom, I'm really concerned. Like, I miss my old mom, but it's not even about me. I don't want to get a phone call one day that you're dead, And, that didn't go over too well. So I just decided just to love her how she showed up. And that was not easy because there were times that she didn't show up at her best. She would do things like fall over. I think it was almost on purpose. And you have to understand, the hardest part for me was seeing other people treat her disrespectfully, almost like she's just an addict. Well, they didn't know her like I did, and Angel did, and Dad did. They didn't know her. They didn't know her strength. They didn't know who she was prior to this. And that broke my heart. That I know that sounds strange, but for those who haven't been in my shoes or been close to an addict, I don't think it's easy to understand. But when you have walked my path, you do understand that them losing their dignity in some way is heartbreaking, because she's such a strong force in the world. It's just, this isn't who she is. It's just masking who she is. But it was tough. And, there were times that Angel and I both had to pull away and for our own mental health. And then I felt terrible about that. But we did the best we could. And, I strongly, strongly advise when somebody has a loved one that's in addiction, don't run from them. Don't condemn them. Don't judge them. Don't use tough love. I mean, that whole, I think it was in the 90s that whoever the hell wrote those books about tough love being the answer. I totally disagree 100% because I have dealt with so many parents who tried tough love and they ended up in my office desperate for help to connect to their now dead child who they try to use tough love on. It doesn't work. Tough love meaning that you just send them out on their own. You basically cut ties and say, figure it out. No, I think that we should love people no matter what, but you can do it with boundaries. You can do it without enabling someone. The whole time my mom wasn't talking to me, I would send her a text. It started out about 3 times the first week. I sent her a message and I said, Mom, I just want you to know I love you and I'm here. And then after that, I sent it once or twice a week. And I ended up, I know it was the right thing to do because I felt good. It felt right to me just to let her know I love her and I'm giving her space to figure out what she wants to do. That was when she didn't talk to me after I confronted her about all of it. But by still loving her, it made me feel like I'm okay. Tough love would have been, I can't do anything for you, until you get it together, don't call me. That would have been devastating. That doesn't even feel right to me. It just doesn't. I mean, I was going to say maybe it works for some, but so far I haven't seen it work for anybody because I'm telling you, I've done tons of readings for people who tried that and they regret it. Every one of them regrets it because now it feels so undone. It feels like they abandoned their child or their loved one. I just don't think it's the right answer. And so I think when you have boundaries means you can let them know you love them. And if they try and take advantage or manipulate, or for those that have kids or family members that are addicted to things like heroin and all, that are trying to get money from them, you can let them know you love them without giving them the money. And it's easy to do. I always say follow your heart and show up with your heart open, because the one thing you want to do is let them know they're supported and loved. You don't want to abandon them. And I'm saying that to anybody that has someone with addiction in their life. Don't abandon them. People that are not showing up at their best, they're the ones that need more love, not less love. So, and I think the reason, I think it's just people don't know what to do. So that's a struggle. And I know that there's a lot of parents that, would rather just give their child money and because they're afraid that they're going to lose them. I think pouring your love onto them is good enough. I really do. Because at least they know they always have that. It's just strengthen that part, and that's what we're here to do. We're not here to fix people. We're just here to love people. We're not supposed to rescue them. We're supposed to love them. And that really is good enough, because everybody's on their own journey and everybody's learning things on a different level, and we don't know what all, you don't know what all their growth opportunities are about in this lifetime. You don't want to interfere with that. So you just want to love them. All right, I'm going to the next recording.